This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Good evening, good evening, good evening. It's Wednesday night, so that must mean it's, well, extra time. Because we don't do extra time on a Wednesday night, do we? Because, but like this is an important one to do, really. So we've got an extra time, not on a Sunday night, but on a Wednesday night. And why? Because we had a game in freezing conditions last night that went to extra time. And we finally came out victorious in the end. 3-2 in extra time, in added time of the first half of extra time as well. And we've got the job done. And because we've got that job done, it means that we now have a fourth round tie against the stripy lot down the road, the West Birmingham Baggy-Birds, otherwise known as West Bromwich Albion, at the Hawthorns on Sunday, the 28th of January, in just under 2 weeks. Well, just over 2 weeks' time. Is it just 2 weeks, or is it under 2 weeks? It's about 2 weeks' time, isn't it? The 28th. It's the 16th today, so it's about 12 days' time, and in between that, we've got a game, of course, against other stripy lot with the name Albion, our bogey team, Brighton and Hove Albion. But we did get the job done last night. I am going to be joined by some legendary Wolves fans this evening and pundits. First of all, I know you love him. He tells it like it is. You're right, Sutty.
Good evening, David.
Good evening, good evening. And for those that aren't watching live on the channel tonight, please you've got another legendary retro trackie. Would you describe that for everyone?
It was based on a tracksuit top that Boris Becker wore, and it's a Sergio Tacchini. It's not an original, because if it was an original, it'd be worth an absolute fortune.
And it's a nice green and cream number. So if you listen to it on the podcast, if you want to see, I love the striping down the arm there with the golden, well, the orange and black as always, gold and black on the side, which has a extra reason why you've got that. I mean, how many trackies do you actually have, mate?
Oh, I said about 30 the other day. I don't know, not that many, Dave. Probably 15.
But they're all quality, ain't they? They're all quality, mate. They're all quality. Everyone's saying good evening. So yeah, we're going to talk to that. We've also got coming on tonight, Mr. Cheerful himself, Cheerful Chris. How you doing, mate?
Hello, Dave. Hello, Keith.
How are you, Chris?
Good. I'm good.
You're good, mate. After last night, looking forward to another victory. We keep the winning run going. Another game unbeaten at home. Another game where we've scored. So many talking points from last night as well.
Yeah, I think we're moving in the right direction. I kind of got a sneaking suspicion that we might get rid of this hoodoo next week when we go away.
Brighton. The Brighton hoodoo. Well, we're going to talk about that. We're going to obviously be talking about the game last night. We're going to be looking ahead to Brighton. Of course, we've got to talk about the Black Country Derby. I mean, come on. We haven't had a proper Black Country Derby in 12 years. So as much as we've got Brighton next week and it's important, that is just going to build and build like a little simmering. It's going to be like simmering away until it builds into a big, mighty froth as we get closer and closer to the Black Country Derby, because we've been starved of these for so long, and I'm sure that the Baggies fans, as much as the Wolves fans, are relishing it, and we're going to get stuck into that a bit later. And of course, we'll have the quiz. We should be joined once he's finished his meal out, also by young Lewis, who should hopefully be joining us as well. We've already got over 130 of you watching live. Well, it's just gone past 140 of you watching live. So smash a quick like. Mate, if you want to get involved with the chat, make sure that you subscribe. We are on 32,249 subscribers. So try and get us towards that 32,300. And before I get started, I want to show you this little mug. This has been sent. This is one of the latest products from FOCO, who help power the channel. And they have got a new Wolves mug. So, like, the link is in the description below. I'll tell you a little bit more about it. I'm having my cup of tea. And I do want to say, of course, as always, a massive big thank you to Creative Wolf, the local digital marketing company, for powering Extra Time. I know there's a couple of companies that's got in touch with them, and they're already talking to about taking their online business to the next level. Right then, let's get stuck into it. Sooty, how are you feeling after last night? Have you warmed up?
Jesus Christ, it was cold, wasn't it, Dave?
Cold. my feet were like blocks of ice. I'll tell you what, in between like the end of full time and a half time of extra time, I was having to jump up and down and run on the spot to try and warm my feet up, man. I was frozen.
It was freezing. It was a bit, how can I describe it? I think we dominated massive periods of that game without really doing a great deal, and we won. Nobody played really poorly. Nobody was outstanding. I actually thought that I keep saying this week after week now. I'm getting pretty impressed with Santiago Bueno, Dave.
Yeah, he had a good game last night again, didn't he?
Very comfortable. But the absolute highlight for me, probably the same as everybody else, was watching young Fraser come on for 55 minutes in the end, because we played extra time, obviously. He scored an absolute belter, and he should have had another one, which I think was probably a bit easier. And as I've just said to you in the green room, Dave, I saw more in 55 minutes off this young 18-year-old kid who put himself about and got stuck in and made himself a complete pain in the arse to an opposition back line, which included one of our former players, who I still think's a load of shite. And he was an absolute nightmare to him, and he did more in that 55 minutes than I saw Fabio Silva do in 4 years, Dave. And I was the one that always tried to champion him. I never seen Fabio Silva put himself about like what this kid did last night, and he looked, every time he got the ball, like he could score. And I'm starting to wonder now whether, if we can get Huang back fit, because I believe he's picked up a knock in the Asia Cup, and he's
got
not
a little bit of a thigh strain. I don't think it's very long term. He's not sent him back or anything. I think he's just missed the first game. I think he'll be available for their second game.
Yeah, and I'm looking at certain loan fees that clubs are quoting us just for the rest of the season for certain players, where they're asking £20 million loan fees. And I'm thinking, wow, I don't want to spend £20 million to loan someone for 4 months. That don't sit very well with me.
How many million of pounds?
Well, Brozier from Chelsea, they've told us he can go out on loan, but it's a £20 million loan fee.
Oh, no way. Absolutely no way.
Well,
There's no way anyone's going to pay £20 million for 6 months.
Not for me, Dave.
It might be £2 million, but 20 million. No
20.
chance.
20.
Who's going to pay that? That's a transfer fee.
Well, that I would think so. But anyway, it was dogged. It was dogged again. It was 6 wins, 3 draws in your last 9 home games. And we're through to play the old foe, Dave, on the 28th, 11:45 a.m. And let's hope it's really feisty. And people's
you're excited about that, aren't you? To put it mildly.
Oh, very excited, Dave. Very. I might even smile.
Might even smile. Chris, are you smiling after getting through last night?
Yeah, it was a potential. I mean, to be fair, I have to say, apart from a ridiculous sending off, I don't believe Brentford have really laid a glove on us in the games we played. It might be different when Tony's playing for him when he plays next, but I don't think. I didn't see them winning. I think they pushed us closer than I thought it would be. But you can't not be happy with going through into the next round and playing a game against your local rivals, who we hate with a passion. And we were talking in the green room here earlier. Am I excited? Well, I'm excited for the game, but I don't think it's going to be the blood, guts, thunder kind of game, because we just can't play that way anymore. That the feisty fighting, 58-man brawl, including the.
Mate, we had a brawl. We had a brawl last night, and it was about an 18-man brawl. That was after the penalty.
No,
Can you just move your thing so we can see you on the screen?
Sorry,
So we'll give you see.
back.
Yeah, there you go.
I've grown over Christmas.
Yeah, you've grown. You've got stilts on.
No, I look. The game's different nowadays, and maybe we'll see it. Maybe we won't. I'm looking forward to it. And yeah, it'll be nice to really put them to the sword, because I think they've got quite a good record of us against us in the cup, and I think we need to readdress the balance and show them who the poor relations are.
I think we won the last cup match against them, wasn't it? 3-0.
Yeah, I think we've only won 2 out of 10.
Yeah, I mean the recent history. I mean, I guess you have to put it into context. We're talking about Albion already. We are about the game last night. Well, the recent history. I mean, they were in the Premier League for quite a while. We've been in the Premier League for a little while now. We had that little bit when no fans, and we didn't beat them even though they went down. But then again, we lost to Huddersfield twice. We're very kind to teams at the bottom of the table. We try to help them out. We'll come on to Albion in a bit, but let's talk about last night. And we're going into the game. We've got a replay after a battling performance with Tommy Doyle pulling the strings, and he's got feistiness in it. He's got tenacity in him. He's got fight. I think he's got a bit about him, Tommy Doyle. We got the replay, got Brentford. We absolutely played them off the park for 10 minutes. It was like the pitch was a slope. We had 83% possession, total in control. Typical Wolves, as what typical Wolves are. They go down the other end, have a shot, it's parried, and Calamity Collins tucks it into the net. Respect to him, he didn't celebrate, to be fair. And then we're 1-0 down. It's like, this ain't in the script, but this is exactly the type of thing. When Chris, you go and everyone got no chance against Man City. It's like, no, this is Wolves, will beat them. That's just so Wolves that will go and mess it up last night. It's just how we roll, isn't it? It's just how we go.
Yeah, I mean, when that for goal went in, it's probably, for God's sake, here we go, But I thought they come out of it well. I thought they gained the composure. I mean, I didn't go. I was listening on the radio on Talk Sport, and they literally were saying at the end of the first half, well, Brentford really don't deserve to be in the lead, and their best chance is to set piece goals. And they said Wolves, should have been in front, and they were very complimentary how we played against.
We did. We played some good stuff, and it was a good goal for the first goal. And some good chipping from Cunha that he played, very similar in some ways to the angled ball that he put in for Pablo Sarabia against Tottenham. Semedo got into the box. It was a good shot, parried, and he followed it up, and it was a tap-in the end, 1-1. You go into half-time, Sutty. What are you thinking at half-time?
Well, I didn't expect us to come out the way we did. I thought we'd really go at them, Dave, to be honest. I thought we were a bit lackluster. I think going back to the young Joe Hodge. I like Joe Hodge, but I think Joe Hodge needs a loan, Dave.
Yeah, I thought it was a half a yard to a yard off the pace.
Yeah, the game passed him by, bless him, and I don't want to sell him, by the way. But I think a loan will do him the world of good, because he's not going to get in before Lamina, Gomez, Doyle, Traore. he ain't getting in that. He's just going to sit on the bench. He might as well go out on loan. But he did his bit, you know. Doyle, the midfield, we seem to lose the midfield battle at times. But we still look the better team. I think they're poor, Dave. They look a poor outfit.
I think Tommy Doyle is absolutely fantastic. I think he's like 1.5 players. I mean, he basically played midfield on his own in the first leg, and he was brilliant. His vision. I think we had Brian from Southampton that came on last time. He referred to him like how Martinho scans, and he knows where he is. He hardly loses the ball. He's always looking for a positive pass. His range of passing is fantastic. He does the simple stuff really well, but he also looks to play a pass. Some of them on the odd occasion go wrong, but he just keeps the ball moving quickly. And that's what I like about Tommy Doyle. He keeps the play moving. And when Lamina came on for Hodge, it just gave us that little bit more anchorage and strength in the middle of the park. I thought Hodge grew into the game, but the first sort of like 20, 25 minutes, it did pass him by. We're just being joined now by Lewis. Hi, Lewis.
Hi, Dave. Sorry I'm so late, mate. Are you okay?
You've been out for a meal in Featherstone, ain't you?
Yeah, I had to pop out this evening, but yeah, it was a bit slower than we expected. So
no, but you're here now, and I did say to the everyone thinking that you would be coming past. We were just talking about the Brentford game initially. We're just on the first half, and we're just talking about at the moment Tommy Doyle and Joe Hodge. I mean, you were there last night watching the game and everything, obviously freezing like the rest of us. What's your take on the two different players, Joe Hodge and Tommy Doyle? Sooty, and I agree, and I think Chris agrees as well. We thought Joe Hodge, he hasn't had a lot of game time. He was a little bit like half a yard off the pace, especially early doors, and he probably needs a loan. What do you think?
Obviously, the midfield, it was kind of Bellegarde was playing further forward with Joe Hodge and Tommy Doyle. And I think when you're playing with two across the midfield, obviously you had your advance forward with Bellegarde, it's always tough, to match the physicality of Brentford, especially in the midfield. They have a couple of big centre midfield players. And I think when I saw the lineup, I was a bit worried that Joe Hodge, especially, would kind of be ran out the game, really. I think Brentford did well, especially in the midfield, to keep control for large parts of the game. I just think that he probably didn't suit that style of play last night, Joe Hodge. I think his build doesn't suit that formation choice in the midfield. I think it's best for him if there's three in the midfield with maybe a much stronger player like Lamina, a bit taller, a bit more physical, rather than Tommy Doyle next to him. Because I think, like I said, his build, when you're going up against the taller and stronger Brentford players, you just lose that battle. And unless you have the quality of pass like Tommy Doyle does, you're always going to struggle a bit. I think that was something that maybe Gary got slightly wrong last night. And obviously the crowd were calling for Lamina from about the 60th minute. And then when he came on, it did seem to make a big impact. A couple of runs he made. There was one counter-attack where he won the ball in a header, and then he kind of drove forward with the ball at his feet. And I think it went over the bar from his shot. I think it was just a bit of especially up against Brentford's tough midfielders, which they have got. I think it was a bit of naivety from Gary, but I'm not going to criticise him because he's made some really good choices, for a lot of the season. But I think last night he could have just done with a bit more physicality in there from the start.
Yeah, I mean, we were obviously very light in the midfield options. Obviously, Mario's obviously been away on, for personal issues with his dad passing, so that's understandable. He weren't going to start. Boubacar Traore is away at the AFCON. Gomez is suspended. You kind of down to the bare bones. So Joe Hodge obviously get in the game time. Tommy Doyle, though, what was your take on Tommy Doyle performance last night? Middle of the park.
Yeah, it impressed me a lot. Like I said, his quality of pass is just superb. Sometimes the passes he can play fantastic, and they remind me a bit of Neves' quality. I think he looks forward a lot, which I think is good, especially from a deeper position. Obviously, before when Nuno and even Bruno was there, it used to be Cody who would kind of play those passes from a deeper position, and maybe Neves in the later years with Bruno. But yeah, he's a good midfielder, and definitely for the money that we have the option to buy him for, I think it would be silly not to pick him up.
I can't
he has
see.
impressed me. Like you say, Dave, at the minute we're struggling with in terms of the squad. Obviously, it's a bit, the unique circumstances because obviously the international break and things like that. It's unlikely in the future it will ever be this bad. But you never know because the injuries can happen. I mean, Brentford know that they have a lot of injuries this season, and we have obviously a couple of seasons ago a lot of injuries. So, even though maybe it won't happen in this way again with so many international players away, but you could definitely find yourself in this situation through injury, and what do you do then? You have to play maybe 2 or 3 games with Joe Hodge and Tommy Doyle, and we saw last night that they don't compete as well as Lamina and Tommy Doyle, or I think it's quite telling that we need a bit more depth in the squad. So
absolutely. Well, Suchis wanted to move you over because he wanted his spot back on the screen, so he's pushed you over. Some good points. We were just talking about at half time, Suchi. I mean, I was thinking at half time, and Chris, you and Lewis, you might be the same. I was thinking, okay, so we've conceded a goal, we've got back into it. It's half time. Get them in the change rooms. Come out. Let's take the game away from them in the second half. And in typical Wolves style, 8 or 9 minutes into the second half, there's a bit of a ricochet. Blooming Mope, I can't stand the bloke. I guess if he was playing for you, you'd love him because he's just like he just winds people up. The ball bounces. He hits it first time. It's in the back of the net. The linesman flags up, and I'm like thinking straight away that looked like he was onside to me because of the other player. Now I'm behind the goal. It is onside. They're 2-1 up, and you're thinking, blooming hell, it's like, do we want to win this cup tie or what? And then obviously he makes the substitutions. Nathan Fraser, who's been, I think, signed when he was 8 or something like that. Young lad, he comes on. He's been out with a little bit of an injury. He's a big lad. He's a big lad. He's about 18, 19, is he?
Yeah.
Nathan Fraser. The finish for the goal. I mean, it was a great move anyway, but his finish was like top finish for that goal, wasn't it? I mean, it was just a brilliant finish. And then obviously for him, scoring in front of the South Bank after he's only been on long. And then literally a minute or two after that, again, he's made the right run. He's got into the right position. I think he's going. He thinks, and I think we all think he's going to slot that away, and we're 3-2. I think the way he takes it, he's a bit surprised the keeper saves it. It's a good save from the keeper. He probably shouldn't have been able to make that save, but like he put himself about. I thought he was strong. I thought he was dynamic. I thought he had a lot of energy. I thought he got pace. I think he's definitely got an eye for goal. He's got a shot on him, and he knows where to make the runs as well, Chris.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to congratulate Gary O'Neill for seeing what he sees in the kid and bringing him on and trusting in him. So that's the first props I'll give him. I was a little surprised that Sarabia didn't come off the pitch first. I didn't think he had a very good game last night. And certainly the guys who were commentating on the radio were, I would say, alarmed that he didn't come off first. And then I think Neto went to fullback or something for a period, which I was a little bit, okay. Doherty went off, I think. Neto, come on. And
yeah, I think we almost went to a back four at that point.
We did go to a back four.
Oh, yeah. That's what it was. I thought that maybe we were going to a four, but they were adamant he was playing left back. And I thought that's a bit strange. But, you know, you can't really say anything because the guy makes the tactical changes, drags the team up, and they've got the result. And you've got to congratulate him for his the way he's managed the game. Going back to Hodge, you know, he's not just not been in the team; he's been injured, and you know, he obviously thinks a lot of him, and we're obviously going to need him. So we've got to play him in these games to get his match sharpness up. And it was clear he wasn't match sharp.
Well, we saw him play in pre-season, and he was one of the players that really impressed us. When in Dublin at Celtic, a few games pre-season,
well.
he did do good. I mean, that is pre-season, and it's a different kind of level, I guess. But like you say, you do make a good point, Chris. He has been out injured with a shoulder injury. And he's coming back, so and he's been thrown in, and he is a little bit off the pace, and as Lewis said, he was slightly being played out of position. So fair play.
And I think with Doyle as well. So Doyle, I tried to categorise Doyle as what sort of player he is, and the thing that always sticks back into my head is when we weren't very good, and me and Keith were going to places like Stockport and places like that, we were playing Division 3. We had two midfielders, a guy with a wonderful left foot called Paul Cook, who could spray a ball everywhere. Tommy Doyle plays like him. And alongside him, he had a little terrier, a guy called Keith Downing. And I think Tommy Doyle is a bit of both of them. He's like a culmination of the two. He's like their love child, if that was possible.
Yeah.
We probably want to move on from that, but that's what I see in him, and I think those two played in the Man City youth midfield. Somebody put a picture up of Cole Palmer was in there. Those two were in there, so you got to look at them and think, that they're good. I mean, I like the fact that he's got Hodge in. He's tried to play Fraser, half of the second half, and it's quite good to see. I'm so pleased to see a young lad come on and score a goal rather than go on 15 loans, all of which are cut short and move to some other club and we never know why. And then they just disappear out of the club. So I'd like us to persevere and try and develop him. And not waste 40 million on another wonder kid.
From what Gary O'Neill's been saying, he's definitely going to be in around the first team squad because of the, thinking we've obviously... I mean, here's a question. Sutty, do we need to bring that striker in after, on loan and spend the money? Or do you think Nathan Fraser, with where we are in the league, it's not like we're in a desperate position to have someone, do you think Nathan Fraser can do a job? Or do you think it's still a bit much of an ask for him? I mean, this is to all of you, Sutty, Lewis and Chris. Do we need that striker right now to bring in on loan, or can Nathan Fraser be the answer at that backup?
I think what we don't need to be is held to ransom, Dave. I mean, I'm seeing fees for the likes of Che Adams, who's got under 6 months of his contract left, I believe.
6 million, it's like
6 million quid. No, that's not for me, that one. The lad from Chelsea, when somebody mentioned that to me, I'm like, oh, I like Brozier. He's a good player. He is. I'll take him on loan. But then they're asking for £20 million loan fee.
No, it's not. It's not 20 million. It's a £20 million fee to buy him. It's not a loan fee. Yeah, no, it's not loan.
Is that the fee there? So he could go on. If he could go on
loan with an option to buy for 20 million, I think.
Wow, that's different, Dave. That's different. So I'd be a bit tempted by that. But just quickly going back to the game, Dave. So we're 2-1 down, and I'm sure we was 2-1 down, and we went to a back four.
Yeah.
When we were 2-1 down, went to a back four, and we were as likely to concede with that back four as we were to score.
Because
we scored.
They were getting. I mean, Emma said at the time, and like we were saying, they were getting in on that right hand side. It was a bit like West Ham when we were away at West Ham. That there was a gap.
Yeah.
Exploit.
We scored, and then it was as if he said, "Right, let's try this. If we score, we'll go back to a 5." And he brought Dawson on then, didn't he?
Yeah.
Straight back to a 5. Brought Dawson and Bueno on, and we look solid again.
Yeah.
We look solid. We can cope. Semedo's not the same player if he's playing the 4 because he doesn't like to bomb forward.
Yeah.
He knows he's got that cover, doesn't he, if he's got the 3 lads at the back. And the thing is, if Semedo gets caught out, Kilman gets drawn across, we're all over the place.
Yeah.
I sit up high and you can see it, and in a back four, it's alarming
Yeah.
how far we get dragged around. It's scary. We just don't have the personnel to do it.
Not yet. No, definitely
No,
not.
we don't. But young Fraser, I'm liking this kid, Dave, because he's a fair size unit. He's not frightened. He didn't look phased at all last night. He's thinking,
No,
he
to be fair, he linked the play up well as well. It wasn't just a thing. He was linking the play.
He's come on that pitch, Dave, and he's thought, I'm having a bit of this. And then when they started singing his song and his name in the South Bank, it's like he's loving this. You can tell he's putting an extra yard in. And as I said before, and I'm just using him as an example, you would have, if you put the two players together, you wouldn't have put the £35 million price tag on Silver. You'd have, if you hadn't seen him before, you'd have put it on Fraser.
And to me, he's worked damn hard. I mean, like, he's 18 years of age. He's been at the club for 10 years. You know, he's a homegrown talent. It's, you know, Wolves fans love one of their own. They call him the techno terrier.
As Chris has just said, there has to come a point where these homegrown players are actually in the realms of starting Premier League games. I don't care how old they are, Dave. If you are good enough, you're old enough.
Well, that's true.
Simple as that.
Lewis, what's your thoughts on Fraser? Obviously, it's what come on last night. It was impressive and stuff. You've probably watched him a little bit as well. You know, do we need to be desperately ringing in this forward, or do you think Fraser could be the answer to the end of the season? And, you know, from what you're seeing, I mean, what's your thoughts?
It's a tough one, Dave, because he played well last night. And, you know, there's a few, you know, about 2 weeks left of the transfer window. So, you know, it'd be a good thing to see him in the league. You know, obviously, he's probably not going to start a game in the league. He might, but he'll probably get some minutes off the bench. I'd expect at Brighton after scoring and playing the way he did. But I think I'd like to obviously go on an FA Cup run, but our priority should still be the league at the moment, I would say. So I'd like to see him in the league, but I think the quality Brentford had out there, they were there, you know, a strong team from Brentford. So I don't feel like the jump would be too big. It wasn't like Brentford. What? Sorry, Dave.
I think Brentford, it was as strong as they could have put out.
Yeah. They had Jan Damsgaard. I forget the other centre mid player.
Me came in,
yeah, this is so, you know, for him to come on with that confidence, it was good to see. But I just need to see it in the league. I think if I was, you know, Jeff or Matt, before we decided not to sign a striker, I'd like to see it in the league because, you know, it's great that he scored, but it's only one game. And I think if we make a decision off one game that's going to determine us signing a striker or not for the rest of the season, it's a big one to make. But like I said, you know, there's still 2 weeks left, and
we've only got one Premier League game though. That's Brighton.
Yeah, it's true. Obviously, Brighton's there.
The 1st of February, isn't it?
Yeah, and you know, I think that Brighton game will probably be quite crucial. And like you said, only that one. But yeah, I think like Chris and Susie said, it's important for the players to see a route into the first team, and you know, especially the way the league is looking like it's going to go. The importance of homegrown players is going to come a lot more into the fore, really. You know, there's already
player trading and stuff like that. I mean, you know, this profit and sustainability thing, it's like a tsunami through the Premier League, really. It's just sent shockwaves. I mean, Forest, Everton with a second charge. We'll wait and see what happens. I mean, they're both likely to get points deductions again. We've already heard the likes of Newcastle and Chelsea that are talking about they're going to have to sell players in the summer. I mean, and these are mega rich owners, but they can't. Doesn't matter how rich you are, you can only spend within what is your income. So clubs have got to get got to be very, very clever with their commercial deals in terms of bringing in commercial revenue. And also, you're going to be seeing a lot of player trading and stuff like that to thing, because no one wants the point deduction, because, okay, they might get away with it this year because there's like 2 or 3 teams. But a normal year, a 10-point deduction, you're gone. Unless you're like, a top 6, top 8 club, you're gone.
Mm-hmm.
Chris, to finish off this section, and then we'll look forward. What's your Fox at Shipley performance rating and your Leamore Windows man of the match, and why?
Just quickly, Dave, on Fraser. So I watched the highlights but I was listening to what he was doing on the pitch when he played. I believe he's an Irish youth international. So I don't want to put any pressure on him.
He qualifies for Ireland and England, doesn't he?
I don't know, but I don't want to put any pressure on him and big him up. But we had I think he was Northern Irish striker, who he reminds me of. He was very tall. This lad's a little bit heavier than he was, but he used to come down deep, get the ball, shred it, and get in the box and get on the end of things. His first name was Derek, and I think I think he's could be a very similar player. Yeah. I think he could possibly be a very similar type player to him. Whether he gets to that sort of level, I don't know. Don't want to put any pressure on him, but he's coming deep, distributing the ball, getting on the end. I can see him getting on the end. I don't know whether he had any header attempts or anything last night, but I can certainly see him getting in on the end. He's a tall lad. He should be, Sasa didn't get on the end of things with his head, but let's hope this lad can. Going back to performance rating, I would probably give it a 7. They were Premiership opposition.
Yeah.
They were trying to win it as much as us. It was cold. We had some, we're missing a few players, but the lads have come and did a decent job. And I think I'll give the young lad my man of the match, because I think his interjection and the way he linked things up and the way he turned, I think we were wallowing a little bit, and he came on, give us some impetus. So I'll give him my man of the match.
Okay, Sooty, same question to you.
I want to give it a 7.
7.
I'm going to be really boring, and my man of the match is Santiago Bueno.
Now, you've been quite impressed with Santiago Bueno of late. Can you explain why?
Natural successor to Craig Dawson. I think they're blooding this lad in cup games, odd league game, and I think you'll see Dawson slowly phased out. So I think he'll start next year.
What do you like about him?
Calm, looks good on the ball. Doesn't look phased.
Can play it out.
Reads the ball well.
Yeah, he reads, as you say, he reads the ball well. You don't actually. I watch him, but there's nothing glaringly wrong with what he does to make you say, he ain't going to cut it. Not like that calamity that played at centre-back for that lot last night. If you just watch reruns of our goals last night and watch how he busts a gut to get back and help. He walks, Dave. He is bone idle. He does not want to know. There's no fight in him whatsoever. Nothing. It's the best £25 million that we ever got rid of, and the best £7 million profit we've ever made.
Well, they do say that if you get a Uruguayan defender and a good one, they are top quality.
These are polar opposites of players, Dave. Collins and Santiago Bueno. It's took him a little bit of time, and they've been patient with him, because let's be honest, Premier League's the best league in the world.
Yeah.
Been patient with him, but he's young, he's calm, he never wastes the ball, Dave. Never. Yeah. He will be playing a lot more next season. I guarantee you. Unless he gets injured, but he's young. He is looking every part double the money we paid for him already, in my eyes. So yeah, that was my man of the match, Dave.
And that's got to be, again, you've got to give some credence to the recruitment team there on that.
Oh, absolutely. He's been. Don't forget, he left a team that was top of the league, and he's clearly a very talented young lad. And as you say, Uruguayan centre halves are usually pretty classy and a bit tough as well.
Yeah,
Dave.
hard man, they are. Lewis, before we get on to your performance rating and your man of the match, what's your take on Santiago Bueno?
Yeah, I think I'd echo everything that Sooty said. I think he's really impressed me when he's played. Obviously it can take time to adjust to the league. It is the best league in the world. The quality is so high. So I think, I wasn't really surprised when he didn't start, because I think the back three looked quite settled. Even, he arrived at the end of the transfer window, and I think it suited Kilman playing out on that right, even though he's left-footed, and Totti really was playing really well, and obviously Craig Dawson wasn't going to get dropped at the start of the season, so he had to be patient. But when he's played, he's impressed me. I think with defenders, if you don't notice a glaring mistake, then they're doing really well. If they just keep everything simple and they do their job really well, then that's all you can ask, and that's a top defender. And obviously the money we paid is, in comparison to what we sold Collins for. Like Sooty said, you can see the difference. Obviously Collins is a bit younger, but I just checked online. He's only 25. He's only going to get better still.
That's not even peak age for a centre back, is it? 20.
Yeah. That's you look at Van Dijk when he got to Liverpool, he was only 29, so he's still got 4 years to improve if he was to peak at the same time. So yeah, it's a really good signing.
Okay, so your Fox at Shipley performance rating?
I would give 7 again as well. I think there were some poor moments in the game. I think that the goals we conceded were they weren't great to concede. But like everybody said, their team out that was their strongest, and we had a couple of rotations like due to injury or international break. So it wasn't awful, but we could have killed the game, I felt. But so I'll give it 7.
Absolutely. Keishan, by the way, says, Chris, look what you've started comparing Fraser with the Duke.
What have I started?
Lewis.
Am I getting some abuse, am I?
I don't. You leave my Windows man of the match, mate.
I'm going to have to say, it's a tough one, because I think there's a few that played, well. There were a few standout players like Lamina when he came on. Doyle was amazing from the start. Really, he played quite well. Santi Bueno, obviously. Yeah, I'm going to have to go with Doyle. I'll give Doyle the man of the match. I think it was a tough job
went a
for him.
7 and I went with Doyle as well.
The what? Sorry,
I did a 7 last night, and I went with Doyle as well. So
Yeah,
I think
it's a tough job in there for him last night, and obviously I spoke about George's struggles, but he's still it's a tough team to play against in that midfield. Brentford are with the 3 of them as well. So yeah,
absolutely. Well, we're through to the next round. Before we get on to talking about the Baggy Birds, Brighton next week. Anyone go into that? Sooty, you there?
Yeah.
Hardcore, mate. Hardcore.
I did think about going, but because I know that there was a couple of people that couldn't go, but I've got a meeting on Monday and I can't get out of it, and I just want to get to Brighton in time.
I think it's going to be. And Chris, you think we're going to break the hoodoo next week?
Yeah, I wanted to go because I think we're going to win. I've got one of them premonitional feelings like I have every now and then.
Go on then, give me a score prediction.
I think we're going to win 3-1.
Lewis, give us a score prediction for Brighton.
I go 2-2.
And Sooty?
3-1.
Wow, love it. We're going to win 3-1?
Yeah.
Why are you so confident?
I'm seeing something in this side, Dave, that doesn't give in. And there's a bit of grit mixed with some, what's the time? Mixed with some bollocks, heart, and ultimately, Dave, there's a big sort of togetherness about this lot where they're willing to throw themselves at anything to get a result, whether it be a draw or a win, and they don't give in. And I, as you all know, I was so sceptical of everything at the beginning of this season, This was going to be the worst season on record for me since we've come back up. And so you can see that I'm sort of so happy. You can tell in my demeanour that with what's happening, to be honest. And now seeing other teams getting smashed by FFP, and I've been proved completely wrong that where the owners did know what they were doing. It all sort of started to come together because we will be able to spend a bit of money, and a lot of teams won't.
Absolutely. We'll be in a much better position. I mean, from my understanding, I've done a couple of videos on this. We made an £18.1 million profit in 2021. We made the £60 million loss in 21-22, £40 million, and then it's about £65 million from the ones before. We need to make an £11 million profit in 23-24 season. And we're already... we had 78 million incoming in terms of what we spent. That's including Cunha, but we spent we made about 140 million. So we're around about 60 million pounds, 50 to 60 million pounds in next season, plus any sales. So it still will be a little bit, but like there will be a lot less stress because of the position that we're in. Obviously, you've also got to take into account, any contracts that you've got that are rolling contracts that pay over the year, and also player wages as well. But there are going to be a few clubs in the summer. I think Villa will be one of them as well.
Yeah, they have to be.
Going to be in a very, very similar sort of situation to Wolves this summer.
They have to sell some of their players, Dave. They cannot keep saying, but we sold Jack Grealish for £100 million 4 years ago. And that ain't going to cut it anymore.
Well, it falls off, doesn't it? It falls off.
Going to have to. It's all right going out spending 50 here, 40 there, 30 there, multiple times. But let's be honest here. They get 9,000 people per home game more than us. I think if you work it out, it works out around about 20 million a season more in gate receipts. Well,
yeah,
that don't cut the amount of money they're spending on players. So I think that somewhere on the line, FFP people are thinking, we'll start having a sniff around them. Let's have a look how creative they've been with their accounts.
So it's going to be interesting, actually, when it comes into things. But the one club that looks like we'll be well clear of it, and we won't be having any major stresses next year, will be Wolves. But there are a few others that will be a closer line. And because the Premier League have been clamping down so hard, like I said, it's like a tsunami, really. Everyone's all of a gun. Okay, so we're not going to get a slap on the wrist. We could get points deductions. The second you start getting points deductions, that's costing you money in the league and potential relegation. So we'll wait and see. Let's move on.
The good thing about our position now, I don't think the club can go out and waste £45 million on players now. So it's driving us into different behaviours. And if anything, over the last 2 years, our purchasing recruitments of players sub 15 million has been absolutely excellent. We've bought some brilliant players that are first team regulars and a match winning first team regulars. Lemina's been man of the match God knows how many times, and we paid relatively peanuts compared to Fabio for him. So I think it's quite good that we've got that problem because it stops us having them bad behaviours.
Yeah,
I think that's a good point. Right, let's move on to just a quick look ahead. I'm sure we're going to talk about this more over the coming weeks before we get onto the quiz to finish off of. And that's, of course, we now have a Black Country derby to look forward to in under 2 weeks. Sutty, if you listen to it on the podcast, is rubbing his hands. The allocation today has come out. Wolves have an allocation of 4,011. Rotherham in the last round, I think, had an allocation of 5,300. So I'm not sure whether this is the baggies that are not giving it or whether it's the police that are basically, the police are basically want a little bit of a gap on either side of the stands to try and temper it. But I mean, we could sell probably the whole ground out if we wanted to, but like, the 4,011 tickets on sale at some point this week for those that are lucky enough to get it. Sutty, just talk through what this means to you, this derby, and how long you've waited for it.
It's everything, this one, Dave. As I said to you before, we've really only had the Villa in the last few seasons, and it's just a bit of fun, really, the Villa.
Yeah.
Just a bit of bragging rights, really.
Yeah.
But this is everything. If you're a young Wolves supporter and you've never been to this derby, well, years ago, it wasn't very nice at all. And you had to have your wits about you. But it's proper, this one, Dave. It's very difficult to tell you and describe really what it's all about, but it gets the ticker beating a little bit faster, and you become probably a little bit more animalistic, and tribal, yeah, because we do hate each other, Dave. Let's match. I know loads of Albion fans, and I'll go for a drink with them, but I'll hate them for an hour and a half that day, and I hope that we absolutely whop them, Dave. Nothing would make me happier. It would make my year to leave a Sainsbury's carrier bag tucked over the back of a blue seat.
You mean a Tesco carrier bag?
No, Sainsbury's one. It's gold.
Sainsbury's for gold, yeah.
Yeah.
I get you. I get what you mean, yeah. Are you taking one with you?
Absolutely.
A Sainsbury's carrier bag. Lewis, how old are you, mate?
20, Dave.
20. So the last Black Country derby with fans, you were 8.
Mm-hmm.
You've never been to you would have been to a Black Country derby when you were young. Do you remember much about that, or is it just going to be a completely new experience for you?
Yeah, I never went to an away game, but when we played them in the league at home, I went to those games. And it's the biggest game I think Wolves can play this season. Even it could go on a cup run and get to the final, but I think this game would mean the most. Obviously, if you win the final, it means a lot. But to win this game would be very big for the club because as Sutty said, we haven't had the chance to play them for so long with fans. Obviously, in the pandemic, it wasn't quite the same. I think it's hard to explain to people who don't know. I feel like I think Sutty, you summarised it well. That you
as
know,
a young fan, like obviously a completely different generation. I mean, who haven't, we haven't had that. We haven't had the games for so long. Where are you at with it exactly? I mean, what's your sort of, thoughts on it? Obviously, want to win them and stuff like that. I mean, like where is it with you as a younger sort of generation? You still been brought up on all that history with the family and everything?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an exciting game. I think it's the best way to describe it. It offers something different than a regular game at 3:00 on a Saturday. It's you can see that it being played at 11:45 on a Sunday, which I think is a bit extreme. I think I understand the police are going to be stretched and things, but 11:45 it ruins the game a little bit. It takes a little bit away from the game. You look at like Aston Villa and they play Birmingham. I think they kick off at 12:30, which I'm not sure if it's the same police force. It might be West Midlands still, and that seems to be okay. But I think just excited for the game. In the pandemic, I remember watching it at home, obviously, and it was okay, but you wanted that bit more of a feeling, in your belly. You wanted a bit more, and I think it will be a good chance to do that for the away fans who go. And if we get a replay as well, that would be great. If we can come back, I'd like to win in the first round, in the first match. But if we get a replay, then obviously Molyneux would be so excited.
Chris, your thoughts looking ahead to that one? I know it's a couple of weeks. We'll talk more about it as in the build-up.
Well, I mean, echoing Keith's thoughts, I mean, what I'd say is if I do manage to get a ticket, Keith won't be able to use his Sainsbury's bags because I should be doing to their seats what they did to ours last time they came. Won't say any more. Hatred, fury, anger, all that sort of stuff. It's not Liverpool and Everton where everybody's brothers and sisters all support different clubs in the same household. We don't really like them, do we? So that's, and I've that's the way I am with them. So I just want us to go and do the job and rub the noses in it and just prove that we are the ascendant team in the area and that's it. I think also one point, I think last time we played them in the fourth round of the cup and beat them, I think we went on to win the cup. I'm not sure if that's right, but I heard it on the radio, so Carl might know that. He's our resident stato, isn't he? But I'm pretty sure we played them in the fourth round and beat them and went on to the final.
Well, exactly. I mean, that might be the case. I mean, like, yeah.
Sorry to butt in. This cup, well, I can't really call it a cup at the moment, but this year's FA Cup reminds me a little bit of when we got to the semi-final.
Yeah, I agree, because it was when we were like nearly knocked out to Shrewsbury and things like that. And
yeah, well, I know Brentford are a different kettle of fish to Shrewsbury.
Yeah,
but the game last night, the first game, and then the game last night was very similar.
Yeah, it was.
And then the following round, we drew what was the form team in Europe in Bristol City.
Oh, yeah.
They'd gone so many games undefeated and not losing and what have you. And we drew them then in the fourth round. And we went to Aston Gate and Cavallero scored. We won 1-0.
Yeah.
And then went to semi-final. And it's very similar so far how it's panning out. So that Albion are actually playing well.
They've got a great home record. Albion have their very strong home this year.
So we mustn't take these lightly.
Oh,
but also we mustn't give them any respect. We've got to be up for the fight. Is Gomez available for this game?
No. It would be great for Gomez because it's his sort of game, but no.
But we got Doyle and Lamina.
Yeah, he's got a 3-match suspension, which will be the Albion game will be the last of his 3-match bans.
Right. So we've got Lamina, Doyle. We'll still be able to put a real strong side out, and I think we've got to go at these. I don't think we can give them a second on the ball. We've got to be really up for it, because if, like I said to you, when we got drawn against them in the cup a week or so ago, if we give them any sort of time, respect, where they think, hang on, or we give them silly little opportunities like we give
like last night, that'll get their crowd right behind. I mean, let's face it, the Baggies fans are going to be relishing bringing us back. Their home form's really, really good. They're in a decent position in the playoff picture at the moment. They're a long way off the top two, of course, and it could all change in terms of where they eventually finish. But they have got a bit of a belief at home, and they've got a bit of confidence in that. I think they beat someone 4 the other day. They beat someone 4. I think was it Ipswich? I can't think who they beat. It was someone they beat 4-1. Was it Blackburn? Blackburn they beat 4-1. So they're banging in the goal. So they are full of confidence. I mean, hopefully they'll be able to sell out their allocation. I mean, they haven't been selling out and think, but a game against the Wolves, it's going to be ferocious. You've been to, the old firm derbies and stuff like that. People do not understand that the Black Country Derby is right up there in terms of like derbies. It's like right, and when you've not had one for so long,
I always think that your derby is the best because you're invested into it. It's like when people say to us, "Oh, Villa Blues, that's ferocious." Well, to us, we sit there laughing at them. To be honest, it's not ferocious at all. We think ours is ferocious. Celtic Rangers is different level, Dave.
Yeah,
this is different level altogether.
Yeah.
It makes ours look. Because I've been to both.
Well, they can't even have fans now, can they?
No. It makes ours look like a Sunday afternoon kick around, to be honest. Ours is nothing compared to that in its heyday. It really isn't. It's nuts. But it's our derby, so we think it's the best, and rightly so. We should do. And we should all, the 4,011 people that are lucky enough to get one of the golden tickets, should all be very, very vocal and let the Albion know that we're top dogs and we're going to stay there.
Absolutely. And at the end of the day, we are the Premier League team. We are the scalp. They'll want to put one over us. But it. Blackpool have come back from 2-0 down. It's 2-2. Oh, have they? Blackpool have come back from 2-0 down against Forest to a level 2-2 in the cup. What I was gonna say was the thing that the Baggies fans love to say, even when we're in the Premier League, they just go 5-1, 5-1. Nothing would make me happier. We killed the Chorley demons, didn't we? Like the other year when we got the Chorley thing. I like you, Sutty. I would love us to beat them 5-1 at their place, because or even 5-0. We owe them that for all the years they've been saying 5-1, and then we can be turning around and saying 5-1. So I don't know how it's going to pan out. We might lose. Let's hope we don't. But we owe them in that respect. I mean, the other half of my family, Emma's sister Sarah, married to Ian, they're all Albion season ticket holders. We went to my niece's 21st birthday party, Megan, and she's lovely. Megan is. She's a lovely girl. She's autistic, in that respect. But she goes to the Albion. She loves going to the football with her family and stuff like that. The DJ made a bit of a mistake on the night because he I don't think he quite understood, because he started to put on Hi-O Wolverhampton, because the DJ was a Villa fan and they sing it, don't they? Well, of course, we're on the dance floor going Hi-O Wolverhampton, and then he puts on the Liquidator. Oh, they play that still at what? And it's like, oh my God! And you've got this 21st birthday party. We're singing and they're singing. It was a bit of banter and a bit of laugh and stuff like that. I don't know what the DJ was doing. He's putting. Do any of you remember this one? Didn't even think, and then so we're thinking, but they're going. So I've got our other family, they're going to be in the Albion side. One of my best mates who I play snooker with on a Friday, who's one of my school mates, my 4 school mates. Mike's a Wolves fan. Simon, my other mate, he runs Walsall Fan TV because he's a Walsall fan, and he started the channel because I did this and he does that. And then my other mate who I play snooker with, Jason, he's a Baggies fan as well. And I was playing him snooker last week. And I said, "Are you going?" He said, "Damn right I am." So that you talk about friends and stuff like that, family friends and stuff like that. You're all gonna be at the game, and it's like the bragging rights are there, because if you don't win it, you're just not gonna hear the last of it, are you? See, we've got to win. We've got to win, and if we can win well, even better. We haven't beaten the Baggies at the Hawthorns. I don't think, is it 26 years since Ewan Roberts got that hat trick? Is it that long?
9,987 days.
Exactly. So it's overdue. It's absolutely overdue. We want to win, and we want to win well. And if we can absolutely thrash them, so that they don't come running back for many, many years or whatever it is, then all the better. But whatever happens, we need to win the game, and let's hope that we do. We will talk more about this, guys, on the come up. But in the next in the coming week, it's gonna be the talk of the Black Country. It's going to be the talk of the wider region, and it's going to be a great game. We're going to talk more about that. So we're going to get onto the quiz in a second. But before we get on the quiz, I just want to remind everyone that your FOCO cups, they've got a new product. You can be the Wolves #1 fan. I'm just going to put that on the screen so you can see that. It's a new product that they've brought out. You can see there's the cup. It's £8, this cup is. It's only £8. And if you put, forget the 10%, if you put Always Wolves 15, you'll get 15% off it as well. And if you're a fan of any other club, or you've got friends, and you get 15% off everything on the site, just type in Always Wolves 15. Right then, it's the quiz. I'm just going to open it randomly. Okay. Lewis.
Mm-hmm.
First, second, or last?
I'll go second, Dave.
Chris, first, second, or last?
I'll let Keith choose.
Sutty, first, second, or last?
I'll go first.
So Lewis second, and Chris last. So right, Sutty, the penalty quiz. Where was John Barnwell born? Newcastle upon Tyne, Liverpool, Exeter, or Norwich?
Ooh.
And guys, whilst you're waiting for the answer, smash a like on the video, will you? Let YouTube know you're enjoying it. If you're new, try and get us towards that 32,300.
To guess, Dave, I don't know, so I'm going to go Norwich.
You go in Norwich, you've put it past
Where
the
I'd have
post.
gone.
It's, do you know?
It's where I'd have gone. It's that
You've got Norwich. Lewis, do you know?
No idea, mate.
It's Newcastle. Newcastle.
He had a Norwich kind of twinge, didn't he? But it could have been a Norwich kind of twinge. That's why I've got to remember key.
Come on, guys. We've only got 69 likes. Let's get it to the 100. Right. Okay. Lewis, what was the last club John Barnwell managed before taking over Wolves? Was it Nottingham Forest, Notts County, Peterborough United, or Sheffield United?
I'm going to go Peterborough, Dave.
Peterborough United. Mate, it's a Cooner type finish. It's stroked in the corner, calm as you like, nice and clip, nice and calm. It's in the back of the net. 1 out of 1. Chris, who did John Barnwell take over from as manager of Wolves? Was it Bill McGarry, Sammy Chung, Ronnie Allen, or Ian Greaves?
Oh. It's not Ian Greaves.
Yep.
I'm going to say Ronnie Allen.
So you're going for Ronnie Allen. You are incorrect. Keith, do you know the answer?
I think it's Sammy.
Who?
Sammy Chung.
Lewis?
McGarry.
Well, it is actually Sammy Chung. So you've actually hit the post, Chris. Sorry. So after round 1 of the penalties, young Lewis is in the lead. Come on for the young guns. Okay. This is Sutty. John Barnwell was manager of Wolves in 2 FA Cup semi-finals. They lost both times to the eventual winners. In which seasons was it? Was it 78, 79 and 79, 80, 78, 79 and 80, 81, 78, 79 and 81, 82, or was it 79, 80 and 80, 81? If you need those again, just let me know.
Well, we lost to Spurs in a semi-final in the early 80s. So that would have been 81. Spurs won the cup, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then did we lose to Arsenal in 78? Say him again, Dave.
Okay, so A is 78, 79 and 79, 80. B is 78, 79 and 80, 81. C,
That
78.
one.
78. You're going for 78, 79 and 80, 81.
Yeah.
Took it away. Well done. Well done indeed. That's a great penalty, that is, mate, because you literally did 3 stops on the run up and then sent the keeper. He just stood there and he rolled it past him. Brilliant. Right. Lewis.
Well, I think it was more he slipped over and Ned nodded in with his head.
Well, however he did it, he definitely went in the net. Lewis. Right. So, how many times did Wolves win the League Cup whilst John Barnwell was manager? Is it none, 1, 2, or 3?
I should know because I did the emails for the club, the on this day emails, and I remember doing the League Cups wins as the events, a couple of them. I'm going to go 1.
You're going for 1. And he puts it away. Same corner, same eyes, same result. 2 out of 2. Crikey. You're on one tonight, Lewis. Okay. Cheerful. Get you up and running. John Barnwell made Wolves' record signing in September 1979, paying almost £1.5 million for who? Was it Paul Bradshaw, Mel Eves, Willie Carr, or Andy Gray?
I know the answer to this one, Dave. I would like to point out that when Mr. Barnwell was managing the club, I wasn't even in the country. So if he'd have been called Johannes Barnwell, I might know a bit more about him. The answer's Andy Gray.
And you are correct. And that's a top, literally, very confidently struck. That's a pressman penalty in the...
Rocket.
Yeah, what a penalty that was. Right, and if you haven't seen on our socials, we put out a video of the that penalty shootout from in the replay. Right then, so Sutty, you have to score this goal to stay in. To put the pressure on Lewis. John Barnwell made Wolves' record transfer out in September '79, receiving almost £1.5 million for who? Phil Park, George Berry, Steve Daly, or Kenny Pickett? Who are you going for?
Steve Daly.
Correct answer. 2 out of 3. Lewis. Right. I'm going to come to you now. What position were Wolves in the first division when John Barnwell resigned? Were they bottom, second from bottom, 15th, or 12th?
I'll go 15th, Dave.
Lewis, you've gone for the same penalty again, and the keeper's got you this time. He's going to hit it in the same place, and he's dived. Anyone know the answer to that?
12th, weren't we?
No.
Third bottom, weren't we?
We were bottom. Yeah.
Bottom.
So, Sutty and Lewis, you do go through to the sudden death. Okay, Chris.
And my third one, yeah, have I?
Chris,
no.
You
Okay.
have to score this penalty to get through. Okay.
Psyching yourself up, Dave.
Okay, you psych yourself up. After leaving Wolves in 1982, John Barnwell went on to manage a foreign club. Was it Braga, Monaco, Roma, or AEK Athens?
AEK Athens.
Oh, he's done it. He's kept his cool under incredible pressure. Incredible. John de Wolf needed to score that to keep Wolves in the tie, and he's put it away. Oh, okay. Ooh. Okay, so we go on to the next one then. Sutties, this is sudden death now. Wolves won 64 games whilst John Barnwell was manager. For how many games was he manager? 106, 166, 206, or 216?
Oh, I hate these ones.
Can you say it again, Dave, please?
John Barnwell won 64 games whilst manager. For how many games was he manager? 106, 166, 206, and 216. I'll give you a clue. It's got
166.
It's got 6 on the end. Are you going for 166?
Yeah.
What makes you say that?
From 78 to 81, it's roughly 166, isn't it?
And you've got it correct. So you put the pressure back on to young Lewis. Right. Okay. So we're going on to Lewis. Where was Mick McCarthy born?
Barnsley.
Unfortunately, it was Blackpool.
Oh,
No, I'm
was
joking.
it?
That got you there, didn't it?
Yeah.
It is Barnsley. It is Barnsley.
Yeah.
Chris,
How have we gone from bloody John Barnwell to Mick McCarthy?
I've run out of John Barnwell questions.
I was going to say, there's a lot of questions for John Barnwell here.
We're on. Okay, so it's 3 out of 4 for Lewis and Sutty head to head. Lewis, Sutty's got it back, but you've got to stay in the game now. During his senior playing career, Mick McCarthy made over 500 league appearances and 50 international appearances. Which Scottish club did he play for?
Celtic.
Unfortunately, you are correct. So that's 3 out of 4 each.
Millwall, Barnsley, Man City.
Yeah, we're not asking that. Do you want a point taken off for being smarty?
No, I'm just pointing out.
Okay. Right. Who did Mick McCarthy take over from Sutty as manager of Wolves? Was it Glenn Hoddle, Dave Jones, Colin Lee, or Mark McGee? Oh.
I think this is it. Is it Colin Lee?
Well, I don't know. Is that your answer?
Yeah.
It's not.
No.
You've hit it over the bar. I think that pitch that Cheerful was on about, how you keep slipping over, has not worked for you this time.
I had the same answer, Dave. I have to say, I thought it was. Yeah.
It was Glenn Hoddle. It was Glenn Hoddle.
I think Glenn Hoddle took over from Colin Lee, didn't he?
I think he did. But
I tried to forget that Glenn Hoddle was here.
Unfortunately, you do not get a point for that, sadly. So, Lewis, this is to edge yourself back in front and eliminate Sutty. So, how many seasons did it take for Mick McCarthy to get Wolves back to the Premier League? 1, 2, 3, or 4 seasons?
I think it would be 3.
You're doing like Sutty. Is it? I think it is. Is that your answer?
Yeah.
Final answer?
Yeah, I'll go with 3, David.
The keeper thought you were going to go back and do it the other side, and you've done him again. You've kicked it the same thing again, and you've fooled him again. In the back of the net, 4 out of 5. So unless Cheerful,
I would never have guessed that.
Unless Cheerful gets this right, Lewis, you'll be the winner. If Cheerful gets it right, you've got another round. So, Cheerful, looking very, very chilled out there with his plant. What was Wolves' highest league finish in the Premier League under Mick McCarthy? Was it 10th, 12th, 13th, or 15th?
15th.
Jesus, he's on fire. So, Sutty, you're referee with me now. You can just, Sutty, you can just look cool in your Ticini retro top. So, Lewis, this is your 6th. Is it 6th penalty or 5th penalty? Anyway, I think it's the 6th one coming up, isn't it? Which player would go on to score 64 goals in 193 appearances for Wolves did Mick McCarthy sign from Plymouth Argyle in 2008? Was it Matt Jarvis, Sylvan Ebanks-Blake, Dave Edwards, or Kevin Doyle?
Can you ask the question again, Dave? How many goals was it?
So, which player did Mick McCarthy score from Plymouth Argyle in 2008 who went on to score 64 goals in 190 appearances for Wolves? Was it Matt Jarvis, Sylvain Eblanks-Blake, Dave Edwards, or Kevin Doyle?
I think I'm going to have to go with Kevin Doyle, Dave.
You think?
Yeah, I guess. Well, Stutty's shaking his head here now. So, and so is Chris. So, it's yeah.
Is that your final answer?
No.
It's not.
I hope there's no reverse psychology going on here.
Yeah, cancel that one off. I'm going to go for who was the other striker on the list?
Matt Jarvis. I'm going to give you the whole lot. Sylvain Eblanks-Blake, Dave Edwards, or Kevin Doyle.
Yeah, I'm going to go Sylvain Eblanks-Blake.
Are you sure? Okay. Chris, if you'd have kept your mouth shut, or you'd have not nodded your head being smarmy, you would have had the chance. But it is Sylvain Eblanks-Blake. Basically, what's happened there, Lewis? You smashed that ball. It's hit the post. The keeper's dived. It's hit the back of his head, the back of his ass, trickled onto the other post and gone over the line. Unbelievable penalty. It'll be one that's watched on YouTube for many years to come. It's that crazy a penalty. But you are correct, and so you're still in. So this means that cheerful Chris needs to score this to take it to the next round.
Best of luck, Chris.
Oh, God, I can't believe you've got this question, Chris. It's too easy. But I've got to ask you because it is fair, because you do complain sometimes, but it is the look of the draw. Mick McCarthy was sacked by Wolves after an embarrassing 5-1 home defeat in February 2012 against which club?
Oh.
West Bromwich Albion, Liverpool, Everton, or Chelsea?
Oh, I thought you were going to say Barnsley. I think it must be West Brom, Dave.
Yeah, jammy bugger. That's a nice one. So, okay.
I thought Sylvain Eblanks-Blake was a nice one, to be fair.
Yeah, I thought so as well, to be fair. But, it's a slightly different era, so fair play. Listen, after being sacked by Wolves, which club, Lewis, did Mick McCarthy take over as manager of? Was it Celtic, the Republic of Ireland, Ipswich Town, or Millwall?
Ipswich, Dave.
Correct. And you've basically, the keeper's dived to the side that you've been putting it, and you've double bluffed him, and you've gone the opposite side, and it's gone in. Right then, Chris. Wolves won 104 games whilst Mick McCarthy was manager, but for how many games was he manager? Was it 200? Was it A, 200, B, 204, C, 208, or D, 270? Pressure's on here. The tension is
On the numbers again, Dave. Guess the numbers.
A, 200. B, 204. C, 208. Or D, 270. Come on, Chris.
I'm going to go 204.
You're going for 204. And I can tell you, Chris, that with 204, you are exactly 66 games out because he managed for 270, which means our champion from this week is young Lewis. Go on, Lewis. Take a bow, mate. Take a bow.
I hate them games once. I hate them games.
Cheerful. People love that. People love it. People love it when he goes down. Look how deflated he is, mate. He's deflated.
No,
right
I've never heard the last of that.
He will want revenge, I tell you now. He will want revenge.
Well, we did let him through, Dave, to be fair, so it's a bit of a false victory, but I'm not gonna cry over spilled milk.
Fantastic, guys. Absolutely. I hope you've enjoyed it tonight, guys. If you have, please smash a like on the video. If you're brand new, please subscribe. Get us towards that 32,300 mark. We are, getting towards that, which would be amazing. And I hope you've enjoyed the show, talking about it tonight. And, of course, make sure you hit that subscribe button because we will be doing lots more news and updates here on the channel, and of course talking about the upcoming game against Brighton and then the game against the Baggies. I just want to say a big thank you, of course, once again, for powering the show to Creation Wolf. And don't forget, you can get your nice Wolves new mug off the Focus site. The link's in the description below. Use always Wolves 15 for your discount. A final word from everyone. Sutty, final word from you this week.
We're going to beat 2 Albions in the next 2 games.
Lewis?
I'll give it to Lucas because he's been texting me constantly. He said his prediction for West Brom is 6-1 win.
Oh my God, Lewis, that's your brother, right? Lucas.
Yeah, Lucas. Yeah.
I love it. I hope he's right, mate. That would be insane. And Chris?
Yeah, but saying Keith, really a nice win over who decide in the league, which will pretty much put us where we need to be, I think, and then beat the Baggies and get on a nice cup run. What could be better way to start 2024?
Absolutely. Guys, it's been a great show. Obviously, if you've joined us live, thank you ever so much for joining us live. We really do appreciate you giving up your time to come and join in the chat. Much appreciated. If you're watching it on catch up on YouTube or Facebook, that's great because it's also on Facebook as well. And if you're listening to it back on the podcast, why don't you give us a 5-star rating on whatever your podcast provider is? It'll be up in the morning. Everyone will get it up. And we look forward to bringing you more news during the week, looking ahead to Brighton. And then once we've got that out of the way, it's Baggies time. Until the next one, always Wolves.
Always Wolves.